How's it going? This is Corbett Mower Repair. Stihl MS250 is in for repair. It is time for this one to have its fuel system gone through. These are real popular saws. They're real good saws. That's why they're so popular. So I'm just going to show you how to do just a total redo of the fuel system. Step one, drain the fuel. I know that you are convinced that there's nothing wrong with the fuel. I know that you're convinced that the fuel in your gas can is good. Don't trust yourself. Pour it out. Start over. Start fresh. Better yet, go to the store, get you some of the good two-cycle can gas. I stay away from the pink stuff. If it's pink, stay away from it, because there's been so many times when I have poured the pink fuel out of a chainsaw, out of a weed eater, out of a blower, and it be burned up. My belief is that there's just not enough oil in it. It's not thick enough. I don't know. But if it's blue, I trust it. VP is my preference. Reason why I say do this is because you'll assume that the fuel you're using is good, and you'll do all these adjustments after you get your carburetor on, and then come to find out the whole time you had lousy gas in there, and then you got to start over. So just do yourself a favor and start from the get-go with fresh fuel. All right, so you've done that. Move this down to choke. Pop your cover off. Take your air filter off. All right, now what you want to do is you've got two 8mm nuts here. Take those off. You got that off? That's going to come off. All right, what you want to do now is start with your trigger bar here. A lot of people go to taking the handle all apart. Don't waste your time doing that. If you'll move it forward, you'll see that will pop right out. Give me just a second. You got that popped out, and then this will just kind of fall out of there. All right, the next thing you want to do is you want to start on this deal here. Let that pop out. And then that will come out just like that. Just be careful with it. Take your time with it. Pop it up here, and then you just want to kind of lift and wiggle it, and it'll come out of there, and then that bar will come right out. All right. Now I want to get my fuel line off right here. Watch your eyeballs. All right. I like to get this thing out of the way. The purpose of it is to just keep dust and stuff out. Just get it out of the way. It makes it harder to adjust it when you're in the field anyways. So now you're ready. And there it is. While you're at this point, you want to inspect your cylinder. Get a flashlight here. I've not looked at this one, but just this one looks okay. I'm not going to be able to show you on the camera, but just check it out. If you're seeing a bunch of scoring, you may want to reconsider how much money you put into it. But give me just a second, and we'll slide the new one on. All right, one thing I forgot: fuel line. A lot of times on these Stihls, these fuel lines will just last forever, but this one is hard. I don't want to put it back on there like that. If it's still good and pliable, you can cut the end of this off, and it'll make a tighter fit. If it's loose, you're going to be sucking air. You don't want to do that. Now, also, a lot of people they'll go to separating the body of the saw and all that kind of stuff to change this line. You do not have to do that. So this grommet on the line, it fits down in that hole right there, and you can get to it through there. You'll just get you a flathead screwdriver and pry it up, and of course you got to take your fuel filter off the line. All right, I got my filter out. So take your filter out, and then get you a flathead screwdriver and go down in that little opening, pop the this grommet here out of the bottom of the tank, and then that'll come right out. All right, the kit that I ordered, it comes with this, and you're just going to reverse that step. Go down through there. This is so hard to do on the camera. Go down through there. All right, and then you'll just wedge that down in there, and get your flathead screwdriver out again, and you'll just kind of walk your screwdriver around it until this lip goes down into the tank. Just be careful and don't poke a hole in it. All right, after you've got that grommet in, to make sure, and you want to make sure you do this, to make sure that it's the way it's supposed to be, shine in there and make sure that that bottom lip is down inside the tank. If it's not, then you're gonna, when you turn the saw on its side or whatever, it's gonna leak. So just make sure that lip's down in there. So now I'm gonna grab my pliers, reach down in there, grab the end of that line, pull it out, put my filter on, put it back in, then it'll be time to start putting the carburetor on. All right, it's time to slide your carburetor on. You got your fuel inlet pointing towards you. Move your fuel line out of the way. All right. We're going to go ahead and put our fuel line on. Make sure it goes on there all the way. All right. All right, the next step is this. Probably the only aggravating thing about this job, dealing with this. All right. You got to do a certain combination. All right. So first you're going to put this trigger bar inside this. Nope, told you backwards. You're going to put this trigger bar inside your carburetor. All right. After you throw it on the floor. Go ahead. Stick that in there. All right. Get that started down there in your hole. Now you got to be careful at this point not to bend this your keel tab. All right. So start this little bar inside the piece and then push it down in there, and I'll show you when it's together. All right, this is the part I wanted to show you. So you've put your bar in there first, then you slide this end of the bar in that, and then you just kind of finagle this end into this hole here, and then you're ready for it to snap down into that hole right there. What you have to be careful of is that you don't mess up your keel tab. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and just bend this up out of the way, like so. And then you put it down in there. All right. Just make sure everything's working, that you choke. And then once we put our kill wire back in, that will be what kills it. And that's the last part. This this kill wire right here. Let's move it back down. Fits in just like that. And that's what kills it. When you move it to kill, that makes contact with that, and that's what kills it. So, all right, all that's good to go. Got our fuel line on. Going to move this back over here. And I'm going to put the intake back on. We've got to do our trigger bar. Let's do that. All right, so go ahead and start this in your throttle hole in this part. Move this up. With one hand, you'll move that up, and with the other hand, you'll be able to get this in the hole. And then after you do that, you'll be able to snap it in down here. All right, so trigger bar's in. Again, one hand, you'll move this up. With the other hand, you'll take this bar, you'll slip it down there into the hole, and then open your trigger up, and then that just snaps back down in there. So now we're ready to put this back over here and mount the intake back up, and then we'll be ready to put some fuel in it, crank it up, and tune it. If you're curious, that's how I run my breather. I take all that other stuff off of there that makes it harder to access this stuff when you're in the field. Just cut your line shorter, and just this will tuck in right in here. All this is a breather for the tank. That's what we're going to be trying it out with. Got it filled up. I'm going to set you down, and you can go better hear it crank. All right, so it's running, but it's needs idled up a little bit. So I'm going to start right there. This is a new carburetor out of the box, so you'll probably have to do the same thing. I'm going to idle it up more than what I know it needs to be, and then we'll walk it down from there. All right, it's running a little fat on the high side, so you're going to close that up a little bit. Just always remember, on your high and low screws, your low is always the one closest to the engine, always. The high is always the one furthest. Of course, this one has a fancy little mark there. But I'm going to close that up a little bit while the camera's running. And as I close that up a little bit, you will hear the RPM increase. So that's that. I'm going to idle it down a little bit more, but it'll be good to go. So if you got any questions, leave them in the comments, and I hope you have a good day.